Okay, so let's just dive right into this explainer, shall we? Today, we're going to explore how we can finally take all that chaotic internal weather we all have and turn it into clear, really meaningful language. You know, if you've ever felt like your mind is just overflowing with profound thoughts, fragments of ideas, and these deep, heavy feelings, but then when you open your mouth or pull up a blank document, literally nothing comes out, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking the mechanics of a truly fascinating tool called Inner Scriptorium. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the wordless inner world, the 6-step daily reset, mapping your emotional weather, meeting your inner voices, stepping inside the inner sanctuary, and lastly, becoming your own author. Let's jump in. Section 1, the wordless inner world. So, we're starting our journey here by acknowledging a very real, very human struggle that honestly so many deep thinkers face every single day. What happens when you feel deeply, but you just have no words? This question right here sits at the very heart of what we're talking about today. It really validates that frustrating feeling of having this incredibly rich inner life, but totally struggling to articulate it. You know, we so often expect ourselves to just magically have the vocabulary for complex emotions or creative sparks the very second we feel them. But let's be real, that is rarely how human processing actually works. We need a bridge. And that brings us to Inner Scriptorium. Now, this isn't just another place to dump your thoughts. It's a personalized narrative coaching app that actually helps you shape those thoughts, feelings, and creative fragments into language, story, and meaning that's recognizably your own. Think of it not as some static journal, but as a dynamic coach. It takes all those raw inputs, your poetry, voice notes, unfinished ideas, fleeting emotions, and helps you forge them into something that actually makes sense. Section 2, the 6-step daily reset. Now, what's super interesting about this next phase is how it provides a structured rhythm to calm the internal chaos. Because, hey, having a space to write is great, but knowing exactly how to process, that's even better. Let's walk through this continuous daily loop: notice, reset, express, reflect, save, and return. It starts simply by noticing what's happening inside. Then you reset, like what autopilot pattern is running right now. Next, you express whatever wants to come out, whether it's a metaphor or just a random lyric. Then reflect on what became clearer. Save the fragments worth keeping, and finally, just acknowledge what you might want to return to later. It's this intentional, cyclical process that completely removes the pressure of having to finish an idea in one sitting. Moving on to Section 3, mapping your emotional weather. The absolutely crucial point here is shifting away from demands and moving toward gentle observation. Seriously, instead of demanding, "Tell me exactly how you feel," begin somewhere softer. It is just exhausting to be forced to articulate raw emotion immediately, which is why this softer approach is an absolute game changer. When you ask yourself, "Tell me exactly how you feel right now," your brain often just freezes. It's way too aggressive. A blank page demanding your deepest truths is frankly intimidating. We need an on-ramp. So look at these emotional weather states: fog, high winds, rainfall, frozen ground, moonlit quiet, clearing skies. By simply identifying your inner state with these beautiful metaphors, you instantly reduce the pressure to perform or be perfectly articulate. Instead of diagnosing yourself, you're just looking at your internal sky. Is it foggy today? Are there high winds? Is it a moonlit quiet? This instantly de-escalates the tension and gives you a visual language to start with. And as you'll see here, every specific type of emotional weather opens a unique, perfectly suited doorway to expression. If you're experiencing fog, it gently guides you toward emotional clarity. If it's high winds, well, it senses you might need a self-talk reset. Frozen ground leads to voice recovery. It literally meets you exactly where you are, using your current emotional state as the specific key to unlock what's actually going on inside. All right, Section 4. Meeting your inner voices. Next up, we're moving from the weather around us to the characters speaking within us. Because a lot of our inner chaos isn't just feelings, right? It's actual narration. Check out these character cards: inner critic, protector, performer, avoider, peacekeeper, small me, big me, wayfinder. Instead of accepting every single thought as the absolute gospel truth, you can use these cards to turn invisible self-talk loops into tangible voices you can finally see and manage. We all have that inner critic, or that performer who just wants to please everybody, or the avoider who just wants to shut down. By visualizing them as characters, you detach from them just enough to evaluate them objectively. So you ask yourself, what is this voice saying? What might it be protecting? What does it need? By asking these specific questions, you step right back into the driver's seat. You figure out if a wiser voice needs to respond and take the lead. You are no longer just reacting to the panic of the protector or the shrinking of small me. You basically become the director of this internal cast, asking them what they need and deciding if they actually should be holding the microphone right now. Section 5. Inside the Inner Sanctuary. Let's explore the private, creative room where all this raw material actually gathers. Once we've checked the weather and met the cast, where do we actually go? We have these sanctuary portals: the page, the breath, the mirror, sound, and weather. You don't have to just type. You can enter the sanctuary through whichever portal feels right for your current state, whether that's speaking a quick voice note or just taking a deep breath to ground yourself. If typing on the page feels too heavy today, just use sound and talk it out. This flexibility is huge because our capacity to communicate changes day by day, right? Having multiple entry points totally removes the friction of getting started. And look at this. A fragment is allowed to remain a fragment. Nothing has to be polished. I mean, wow, this is profoundly liberating because a single messy sentence can be entirely enough for today. You do not have to write a complete essay. A voice note can just be a voice note until it decides to become a poem tomorrow, or next month, or literally never. Allowing fragments to exist without the demand for polish is exactly what keeps your creative and emotional channels wide open. Finally, Section 6, Becoming Your Own Author. We've arrived at the bridge where your private reflections can transform into meaningful expression. Here's how the AI actually remembers your journey: saved threads, recurring emotional weather, repeated inner voices, writing fragments, and shifts in self-talk. Imagine having a space that warmly reminds you, hey, you wrote something similar before, or, this unfinished thread might be ready for another sentence. This is where the underlying technology really shines. It notices your recurring emotional weather. It spots that your inner critic always acts up when you're writing poetry. It connects the dots of your fragments over time, serving as a powerful mirror to your own internal patterns. On the left, you've got a simple journaling app or an AI that writes everything for you. But on the right, Inner Scriptorium, a narrative development space where you remain the author. This contrast right here, this is the whole ballgame. It is not about outsourcing your voice to a machine. It's about using technology to amplify your own human wholeness. We've all seen AI tools that want to write the email, write the story, basically do all the thinking for you. Inner Scriptorium does the exact opposite. It guards your agency. It doesn't write your story, it just helps you uncover it. The goal is not to make the AI the author. The goal is to help the user become more conscious of their own authorship. I absolutely love this quote because it perfectly encapsulates the entire mission here: taking raw, chaotic inner material and returning the agency completely back to you. The technology is just the scaffolding. The end product, the meaning, the deep insights, those are entirely yours, forged from your own thoughts, your own weather, and your own beautiful voice. So, here is the takeaway. Notice what is there, give it language, find the story, save the thread, return when it is ready. Consider these your new marching orders for navigating your internal world with grace and structure. It's a gentle, repeatable loop. You notice, you name it, you find the narrative, you save it without an ounce of pressure, and you only return to it when you are well and ready. So, I'll leave you with this. What inner weather is waiting for you to give it language today? As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to just take a second, look inward right now, and ask yourself what fragment is simply waiting for you to notice it. Is there a bit of fog today? Maybe a high wind? Whatever it is, remember that you don't need the perfect words right away. You just need a place to begin the translation. Start soft, let it be a fragment, and watch how quickly you become the conscious author of your own story.